Mark Pope's Kentucky Wildcats get the bounce-back win over the Vanderbilt Commodores. It was a must-win game. I think it was really the first must-win game of this season. Cats get the job done at home in front of a pretty solid Rupp Arena crowd for the snow and the weather. But now you got a titanic matchup coming up on Saturday against the Alabama Crimson Tide. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about the win over Vandy, and we'll do all that on today's episode of the Wildcats Today podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, writer over at Kentucky Wildcats on SI, joined as always by Carson, Nash. Carson, it is Friday, which is always exciting, and tomorrow's a holiday, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the best holidays, actually. Everyone should celebrate it. It's National Margarita Day, so horrendous day to be a margarita and the Crimson Tide.
Yes, agreed with you on that. I got a great direct message from a friend of the program, Boff, and it says, if you're not drinking 13 beers with me, I can only assume you're drinking 13 beers against me. I want that to be the mantra for every Kentucky fan this weekend. But, Carson, this game, it was back and forth the first 20 minutes, and as good as our offense was as bad as our defense was in the first 20 minutes. And I don't know what Mark Pope did in that locker room. Perhaps, maybe even a curse word slipped out. But he lit a fire under them or something at halftime. I think that was the best defensive, that second half, allowing 21 points. That had to be at least the best defensive half in SEC play, but if not, of the entire season.
Yeah, and it was awesome to watch because you finally saw them give full effort. You went big in the second half. Your bigs were able to do whatever they wanted to against Vandy's front court. Just everything clicked there in the second half, and that's something that we can build off of and is going to be huge going forward.
This is there were so many positive takeaways for me in this game. Like, this is the most positive I've had to take away from a game in a while. Obviously, you won. We haven't, we've been losing here a bit lately, but the two things for me, I'd say three things. Amari Williams was insane. That's why he's in our corner down there today. You could say, well, Owe had more points. First of all, Owe does that every night. Amari Williams was insanely dominant. Then I think it's the other two things were Andrew Carr and Colin Chandler. Andrew Carr, I think that was the most he's looked like Andrew Carr in a long time. And then Colin Chandler, we've griped about him all year and said, man, this kid, we're not seeing much out of him. And I think you saw the potential out of him on Wednesday night.
Yeah, the thing that Colin Chandler brings that we hadn't seen for a while is that effort. The dude is a loose cannon out there. I know sometimes he might aggravate you a little bit because you might be a little out of control, but those are just freshman mistakes that will get fixed in the coming weeks as he gets more playing time and more practice time. But he looked fantastic to me. Just everything, even those no-look passes to the corner were something of – those were special, man. And he is quick. Like, he's a quick that we don't have on this team. And so it's exciting to see Colin Chandler start to step up. I'm a big Colin Chandler guy, so it's cool to see him start to get it going.
To me, the thing about Colin Chandler that really stood out in this ball game was I love that he came out and nailed his first three. I know he didn't hit another one after that, but there's just some confidence to coming out there and just what has he made? 4 threes the whole season, if that. And he's been playing a little bit of time. Getting some positive momentum early into your time stepping on the court always is a good thing, and we saw that out of Colin Chandler. The other thing I liked, I know Brea only scored 12 points in this game. He went 3 or 4 from 3, and he nailed his first 3 of the game. First shot of the game, the entire game, was a nailed Kobe Brea 3. I just think that this team, in all capacities, players coming off the bench, first 5 minutes of the game, we need to come out hot. And seeing those two things early into this ball game for Kentucky, I think is another thing that really set the tone for the Cats on Wednesday.
Yeah, 100%. And that's been a thing to watch all season. Like, if Kobe makes his first shot, he's normally going to do well that game. Yeah. And normally leads to a win, honestly, because when Kobe plays good, Kentucky ends up winning. Yeah. So we need him to start off hot to continue. And like you said earlier, Andrew Carr finally coming back, and we saw some flashes of him being fully healthy and that glue guy, that presence down low that can get you a bucket when you desperately need one. So that's huge.
I mean, the other thing, we're going to get into this Alabama preview here momentarily, but I mean, Grant Nelson tore us apart in Rupp Arena when these two teams met a couple weeks ago. You need Andrew Carr to slow him. Grant Nelson is a good basketball player. He's not an elite basketball player. And, we can't let him score 25 points on top of Sears, because if Lamont doesn't play, which once again, we'll get more into that. But, I mean, Sears might have 80. So you got to limit Nelson as much as you can if Sears is going to have a big night. So Carr said it after the game. He said, yeah, I mean, I'm there. I mean, I feel great. He's feeling good, which we need, because he's going to be the guy that gets us those clutch buckets in the postseason, whether it's in Nashville, whether it's wherever we play for the first, the beginning of the tournament. He's going to be clutch, and he's going to be great.
You saw how much better our offense looked when we were able to get those buckets down low with our big men. And how about Amari Williams finally going right? And he's like, whoa, I can finally dunk on some people. He's figuring himself out, which looks awesome. I mean, he's starting to become unguardable and down low. Yeah. So him continuing that path, us getting Lamont and Jackson back, Andrew Carr becoming fully healthy, it's starting to click and starting to get a little exciting.
My favorite quote from Byington, Vandy's coach, I loved this. He talked about, what makes Amari Williams so good, right? And their coach proceeds to say, well, first of all, he's massive. But then he goes on to say, we know he's going left. Everybody knows he's going left. And we couldn't stop it. And I love that. I mean, if you're elite when everyone knows what you're going to do and they can't stop it. And it sounds like that's what Amari Williams, before our eyes, has become over this last month.
But they would force him to go right, and he wouldn't do it. But then he finally starting to spin right and starting to score that way. So good luck. Yeah.
So I mean, I was so impressed with him, and it's all around. I mean, he rebounds well. He blocked 4 shots in this game. I believe that was his season high on blocks. He did everything.
He had 17 points. He had 4 blocks. He had 6 rebounds. He didn't miss a shot. He didn't miss a free throw. Best basketball game since Paul Gasol in 2010 with the Lakers, stat-wise.
Yeah. I mean, it was truly impressive and all around great. I mean, another game where you get 3 3-pointers from Ainsley Almanor. Take that every single day.
Ainsley's starting to get really, really hot. Every time he shoots it, it's that thing's going in.
And something else I noticed? Trent Noah went 0 for 4 from 3 in this game. Didn't score a point. But he did pull down 3 rebounds. He hustled. That kid can shoot. Mike sent me a video. So I'm going to have text to you. It was like Travis Perry and Trent Noah's Sweet 16 highlights from last year. Trent Noah. If you haven't seen Trent Noah play in high school, it was something else. I mean, the kid's a special scorer. He just hasn't been able to kind of really get to that all that well yet as a college player, but it's going to come as he gets older and develops more. And I mean, I love that he has the confidence to shoot the ball 4 times. How many, freshmen that only play 10, 12, 15 minutes a game are going 0 for 4? A lot of them miss twice and go, okay, I'm just going to hustle and see, what happens. Kid keeps shooting, and I love that about Trent Noah. And in a lot of games, he's going to go 3 for 4 rather than 0 for 4.
Yeah, I was going to say the confidence is there because he knows he's a damn good shooter, and he's proven that over the season. So, yeah, let that thing fly, young man, because it's going to work out more than it's not going to.
He's going to make more than he's going to miss. I agree with you. Any other we talked about the defense, talked about Amari. I mean, Ortega has now quickly become Antonio Reeves.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
Those of you that have been following us for a while here at the Wildcats Today podcast know we had a big joke last year, and it was, I forgot Antonio Reeves played. He had 22 points. It was just expected. It's Ortega went 7 to 10 from the field for 20 points. That's just what he does now, man. That's what he does. It's why talk about it? Because it's going to happen every single night. He's the only player in SEC that has scored double-digit points in every single game. He's special. He's special, but he's so special it's become just kind of normal. And can you imagine him next year? Can you just imagine it? I believe it's going to happen. But
I think it's going to happen too. If I were projecting it, I would say he's coming back next year.
So I think that wraps us up on the Vanderbilt conversation. Big win, bounce back win. We're now.
Well, I was going to say one thing about Ortega before we wrap up with Vandy. He, that's the best version of Ortega when he's efficient and hunts his shots in his wheelhouse and makes smart plays is when he's his best, and it makes the team better as well, because when he gets those easy layups or breakaway steals and stuff, it just opens up the court for more offense and better defense, because he hustles more than most people on the court at all times.
Yeah, you're right about that. But it's a big win. It gets you back over 500 in conference play. You're now back above Mississippi State in the fight for a top 8 seed in the SEC tournament there in Nashville. So if you're a Kentucky fan, we've now separated from Vandy and Texas and Arkansas. We've got a 2-game lead. You are rooting actively against Mississippi State in every game they play, because what's going to happen? Either we're going to play them, either we're going to play on Wednesday against South Carolina, because we're either going to be the 8 or the 9. I feel very confident in that. So we're going to be the 8 or the 9. If we're the 9, we're going to play who you have to figure would be South Carolina. I don't think they're going to make up 3 games. So you're either playing South Carolina on Wednesday, more than hopefully likely beating them, then playing Mississippi State, or not playing on Wednesday while Mississippi State plays South Carolina and then playing them on Thursday, which is what you want. So we're rooting against Mississippi State very heavily for those that are interested in the SEC tournament. But Carson, the Cats are looking for revenge on Saturday in Tuscaloosa. Good Alabama team that's lost 2 in a row to good basketball teams. So, not like they didn't lose to South Carolina. I mean, they didn't lose like a bad game. But what are your quick thoughts? What does Kentucky got to do if they're going to go on the road and get this dub on Saturday?
Well, yeah, you hate that they're coming off 2 in a row losses for sure, because that means they're going to be mad and wanting to win this game. It's a wide out. They got T-shirt night. It's going to be the whole ordeal down there. I think you really have to play good defense on the pick and roll. I mean, you saw last time Grant Nelson absolutely abused us in that category. So shoring that up. Hopefully Lamont's good to go. I don't know about it. They say he's getting back casually into it.
I think he's going to play.
You think
Jackson won't play. I don't see a way in the world, but I think Lamont's going to play. I just do. I think you're going to see here in about 4 hours, probably about 3 hours when you're watching this, that Lamont's questionable for tomorrow. And I think if he's questionable, he's going to play. I think if he's out, he's not going to play. But if he's questionable tonight on this injury report, I think he's going to be out there.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, he was in his starting practice jersey the other day when they put out that video. So that means he's already been going through at least a little bit of practice.
Yeah.
Pope said Jackson's going through some skill things, so he's definitely a little farther behind than Lamont. But both are good, positive updates on both. So hopefully getting both of them back by the end of next weekend would be something we could shoot for. But having Lamont would be crucial in this game, because Mark Sears in the pick and roll with Grant Nelson, that's going to be something you got to watch, and that's going to be probably the biggest positional battle in the whole game is those two.
I'll tell you this, and I maybe it's bold, maybe it's not. Y'all can decide, but I don't think we win. I don't think we have a chance in earth if Lamont doesn't play. How are we going to stop Mark Sears? I just don't. I want to be wrong about that, but I think you need Lamont Butler out there bad to be able to stop Mark Sears. Mark Sears had 35 points in their loss to Missouri on the Wednesday. Like, he's a top 3 player in the SEC. I mean, he's probably a top 5 player in college basketball. I mean, he's tough to stop. So
the good news is their defensive efficiency has been going downhill as of recent. So if it's a shootout, I still like our chances, even if our defense isn't there. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people think, for sure.
Yeah. Have you seen the spread and stuff yet?
Yeah, it's 7.5, isn't it?
Did you see what the money line is? It wasn't quite what we thought it was going to be.
What is it?
It's only 280. That's not sexy enough for me. I wanted that to be like 350. That's not very. It's not. I don't like it. I mean, I do like it. Like, that probably like a good sign for us, but like not for like actually betting on it.
Yeah.
But the pick and roll without Lamont. I mean, I think that we're going to get. I think we lose by 15 points if we don't have Lamont, just because of how good. And I'll tell you this, I have a feeling, I think if Lamont plays, I think we're going to win. And I just think him stopping Mark Sears is just so talented. And he's, I just think like Zakai Ziegler, I'm not worried about, I would probably, I'm not worried about him. Some of these other good point guards, but like Mark Sears is the real deal.
Mhm.
Wade Taylor, I'd throw in there with the Ziegler, like whatever, who cares? Mark Sears is the real deal. So I think I'm just telling you, and I'm not trying to sound negative, but I mean, in my take on this is we need Lamont to be out there. And if not, I don't seriously, that means our starting point guard is Travis Perry, who we've seen, God love him, but struggle defensively. How's he going to stop Sears?
The X factor.
You put Amari Williams on him?
No.
I know, I'm kidding.
Colin Chandler?
Yeah. That's probably what you'd have to do.
Get the size.
You'd probably have to do that. And that gives us a better chance. I still don't feel great about it.
I just think it helps more on the defensive end because he's longer, faster.
Yeah. So he is, faster, stronger, taller.
Mm-hmm.
He's got all the athletic stuff there. Probably not as obviously as good of an offensive weapon, but he's coming along there. But
yeah.
So I just think it's another game, and we sound like a broken record, but I mean, you need a good shooting night from Kobe. You need Amari to continue to do what he's doing. You need Ortega to just be Ortega. I mean,
and Andrew Carr has to be a constant presence that you can rely on down low to get you some easy buckets.
Yeah. And Alabama, they are bad defensively. They're just like us. I want to see where they actually are in KenPom. Because I know their offense is obviously, I believe, is their offense number 1? Let's see.
It's got to be top 3.
Alabama's offense is number 3. Auburn is 1. Duke is 2. And Alabama's 3.
We're 4, I think.
We're 5 now. Who's 4? Florida's 4. Well, that doesn't make sense. But Alabama defensively, they're similar to us. They're 48th. We're 69th, which
has gotten better recently.
Yeah, it was at 120 at one point. But you can't sell me for half a second that their defense is 48th or whatever. It's not better than ours. It's the same. I'd say it's the same. They're both not good. Like I'm not saying, we're not fighting over who's the best.
I think ours can be much, much better than it's been because you started to see us get better at defense. Now you just need to plug in your guys back into the lineup fully healthy, and you can start to get into that. I would like to see by March us creep into the hopefully lower 40s, maybe even high 30s in defensive efficiency. That would be nice.
That would be great. No, I mean, Missouri, a team that scores 83 points a game, hung 110 on Alabama. Now, Alabama scored 98, but which is one.
But that's what I'm saying. When you play that way, anybody can beat you.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. I mean, here's my thought on this. I looking at Alabama. We often talk about you don't want to catch them after a bad shooting night.
You've caught them after 2.
No, they shot 42% from 3 and 54% from the field. So
but most of their buckets were in like comeback situations. Like Mizzou dominated them from the jump.
They did. It was like 30 points at one point.
It was ugly. Like it was turn it off at halftime. It was like our Ole Miss game.
Yeah, because Alabama made a run, just like we did against Ole Miss. They made a run to get it, within like 50.
Like I felt like we lost that Ole Miss game by 40, even though we only lost by 10.
Yeah. But I'm just telling you, you're right. But still, I mean, they didn't shoot the ball bad. I mean, if you're trying to look for a positive to, if you're trying to say, hey, give me a positive for this game, we're at least not catching them after a game where they went 3 for 44 from 3. You know what I mean? Like, they went 13 for 31 and they shot 54% from the field. So if you want a positive to get you a little bit feeling better for tomorrow, then there's one for you.
I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think they're going to play good. I think we got to bring our A game.
I'll tell you this. I think we're going to hang around. I agree.
I think we're going to play good.
I don't feel great about us winning. But I think we're going to hang around. I think that it's less than an 8-point game. I think it's going to be, tight the whole time. I don't know if I'm going to predict us to win or not yet. I haven't decided. All right, Carson, you ready for MVPs? You got any other thoughts on this?
No, that's about all I got.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. We need a big win. We haven't had a big win in like a week and a half. We're due. We're due for a big win. All right, I'll go first today. I think you went first on Wednesday. Or for Wednesday's game. I'm going to take Kentucky to win this one. 97-95. And you say that's crazy. If you look at the numbers on these teams, it is not crazy to see that score. Like that might be low scoring for these two, to be honest with you.
The over-under's at 177.5.
Yeah, exactly. So if there you go. That's what I'm saying. I think that Kobe Brea is going to have, I mean, I know he had 12 points, but I mean, I think he's going to have, he's better against teams that aren't good defensively because, they let off. I think he's going to have a 20-pluser in this game. And I think that's how you win. You know what I mean? That's how we beat Florida. We put up 106 points, whatever it was, because Kobe Brea had 25. You need a similar Kobe Brea game, especially if you're not going to have Robinson or Butler. Hopefully you have Butler. So that is my prediction. Carson, what do you got?
That's what I was going to say, Kobe, too, but I'll switch it up. I think we're starting to see a superstar in the making. I think Ortega is going to really come out of his shell and just dominate on Saturday. And I think the Cats do get it done. I know I've had a weird feeling about this game for a little bit.
I have all week.
Yeah, just a weird feeling. I don't know what it is. Even though they're coming off 2 losses, I hate that. I just have a weird feeling. And I think Lamont's going to be healthy enough. I think we get it done. I think we win 95-91. And UK is going to be in the house that night, Saturday night.
Well, we're going to be in the house at Burl Brew. And I'll tell you that. We're going to be in the house. The Avengers, that's who we are. But I'm with you. All right, Carson, any thoughts before we get out of here?
That's all I got. It's a big weekend. We're going to see a movie tonight. We'll let you know how it goes. But
Stephen King,
big weekend. Drink your NIL bourbon. Help out the Cats as always.
Get a new O-line.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Everybody celebrate a big game tomorrow, and of course, celebrate Margarita Day as we will be partaking in that. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That helps the show out a ton. I believe we're right there at 2,100. So keep hitting that button. That helps us out a lot. Really appreciate it. Everyone enjoy the game tomorrow. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time right here on the Wildcats Today podcast.